All right, you're all set.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Hope it was a good summer for you.
So far. I'm not giving up on it yet.
I agree. I'm trying my best not to close the pool, but this weather is making it less and less likely that I will win that argument.
I know. Well, fall is nice, so we'll see.
That's true. I do appreciate the change in seasons. Having lived in a place where there aren't any, it is very, very nice. Okay, so couple things we probably need to get in order. First is the priorities and goals, and I'm trying to pull that up. And
I have to read the minutes from the last meeting. So
I'm sorry, Joyce. I did not mean to. Go for it.
Okay. The Bridgewater Cultural Council May 6th, 2025 meeting was called to order at 7:03 p.m. by President Theo Simeone. Members in attendance were Theo Simeone, Nora Tyre, and Joyce Pitta, Secretary, read the minutes of the April 8th, 2025. President Simeone moved that the minutes be approved, and Nora Carr seconded the motion. Joyce Pitta asked if a decision had been made on a program for David Bates. It was not listed in the denials and did not appear on Excel spreadsheet with other approved amounts. President Simeone will check with Treasurer Haley Vasilich on amount that is listed for approval. A discussion was held on guidelines and priorities for next year. President Simeone suggested we consider mileage from Bridgewater Center as a criteria for approval. Nora Tarr and Joyce Pitta do not think this should be a criteria. Joyce Pitta suggested wording that could be, shall be held in venue easy to access for Bridgewater residents. Nora Tarr suggested that when we have our criteria, we should consider putting them in a priority order, with the first one listed being the one we considered most important. It was decided to wait until the next meeting to further discuss guidelines. Discussion was held on how to get information out to the public on what programs the Cultural Council helps to fund, and also to recruit more volunteers to the council. President Simeone suggested seeing if Bridgewater State University students might be able to create an app that would be easily accessible. Joyce Pitta suggested contacting BTV. It was also suggested to contact the high school and the school committee about having student volunteers, and this would help them complete their community service requirement. Nora Tarr said she would start making plans for the Halloween in the Common and suggested contacting BTV and have an ad run monthly. Nora Tarr will send President Simeone the contact information for Jeff Fowler at BTV. After setting our next meeting for May 20th, 2025, President Simeone moved to adjourn the meeting, which was seconded by Nora Tarr and Joyce Pitta. Meeting adjourned at 8:03. Respectfully submitted, Joyce Pitta, Secretary. Now, I also have a list of the grants that we approved and the amounts. Do you think we need to list all of them at this time?
No, because we have that list, and that list can be made available. We've already made it available to Josh, who, if anybody had questions about it, would likely be able to disseminate that better than we would to those people. I think it's perfectly fine just having the list and not having to read it out unless anybody else disagrees with that.
I mean, it would take a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we're good with that, as long as we know we've gotten everybody whatever they needed, all that.
Yeah.
right.
The only
And-
other thing, is that subcommittee meeting that you and I had on the puppet story hour. So I have minutes for that. Now, I'm not sure if the others knew about it, but Christine Stefani of the Bridgewater Public Library asked for her grant to be modified from $1,500 to $1,200 for the puppet story hour. So that subcommittee meeting was held on August 8th, 2025 at 6:50 p.m. The request was made to reduce the grant from $1,500 to $1,200 due to changes in the public story time presenters. Per Mass Cultural Council, a subcommittee with a minimum of 2 members can approve any modification. I'm getting myself confused here. President Theo Simeone and Secretary Joyce Pitta met as a subcommittee and approved this modification. On August 12th, 2025, a letter was delivered to Ms. Christine Stefani at the Bridgewater Public Library, and I've attached a copy of that letter that I will send to Josh.
Okay. Yeah, and just so we're above board on everything. Just to let everyone know, again, what happened was some of the people from the Storytime Puppet Hour could not fulfill their obligation to it, so they asked us to revise the dollar count down from 15 to 1,200. Given that this was a reduction and that there was no, I didn't think that there would be much hesitancy about that. We didn't bother going beyond the 2-person agreement that we could revise that down and send that letter out. It's unfortunate, that people have to ask for those things, but it's actually kind of refreshing that, they were kind enough to say, hey, we didn't need this extra money and we're going to return it to us. So very much appreciate their honesty and integrity on that. And it is what it is, right? That's things happen. So
Mhm.
Now, can those minutes, both for the meeting and subcommittee meeting, be approved?
yeah, I move to approve.
I'll second if needed.
I think we're all in agreement.
I bet nobody can remember back that far, too.
I remember it, and I feel very I wish life hadn't gotten in the way and that we could have had more meetings over the summer, but I understand, everybody's availability and all that. So I'm personally going to make a note of being better about remembering to both schedule and attend the meetings. And hopefully now that I have some phone numbers, I might be a little annoying and text everybody a reminder on the day of. So
Please do. Very much appreciated. Any reminders?
all right. So I guess with that out of the way, the minutes approved unless anybody says otherwise. Move on to our main focus of the night, which will be the guidelines. And as I'm looking at them, here, let me share my screen. Where is the screen sharing? Screen share. Here we go. Okay. I'll zoom in for everybody here. So this is the fiscal year 25 guidelines. I'm not seeing the fiscal year 26. I believe that's what we're on, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So due date. So here's this, and to update your councils. To open record below with draft status, complete both tabs. Click submit. Where is our open? Is there a button? Okay, so that's to update the councils. Funding. Let's see here. Sorry, we're doing this a little bit on the fly, but okay, so that's all good. Cycles. Fiscal year 26. Perfect. So, I do think that the guidelines were technically due last week
Sorry.
or a week prior. I tried to get some things going, but everything kind of
Mhm.
fell against that. So, after our discussions, about last year's, I kind of took time to read through the guidelines again and look at what we had previously, and it doesn't look like there's any way to fill this one out. So I'm just going to go back to the original 25, and we can talk about this, and then I'll figure out how to submit this with Cheyenne. But let's see here. So here's what our original 5 were, and the more I think about it, the more I'm okay with these being ours again. I think there's probably room to tweak them, but I think it's not these are fine guidelines and give us breathing room to, decide thumbs up, thumbs down on the events that will be put forward to us. But I do want to ask, is there anything that people want to add on this, subtract from it, change, modify? Are we good to kind of keep these as is, or do we want to change them? And I'll open it up to everybody.
They're fine with me.
Hi, it's me again. You know what? The only thing, and this is just like a pet peeve for me, when you get down where it says like the council guidelines, and there's extra spaces in between punctuation and
Oh,
that
I will
kind of
clean that
stuff.
up.
Yeah, so if we could, that needs to be just. And then is it really clear enough for people to know that have not yet received a grant? Do you think the information about who to contact and all that is clear enough? Because I got a message on my phone from, I forget who it was now.
Mr. Palmieri?
Yeah, well, no, he sent me an email. It was, oh goodness. And I know who she is. It'll come back to me. but I got a message on, like a Facebook thing that I never use. And she had reached out because they had said, or they were submitting their paperwork or whatever. And so I've never honestly been sure that we have been like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how you do stuff once you get your grant, and these are the things you have to have.
Right.
And I'm always disturbed by the funding may be reduced or eliminated after 3 consecutive years of funding.
Okay.
Because we do, if we're going to provide that as one of our guidelines, yeah, if you're Bridgewater, cool, come on in, but then say, oh no, but if you run a program and you really don't have other access to support because you're just doing a Bridgewater program. So it kind of puts a lot of these groups in a situation where they don't even know that they should, because they believe that means, no, you do 3 years and you got to be off for a while. And I don't think that necessarily applies for the way that our council has worked historically. I don't recall that we ever just bounced somebody out because we had supported them before. So, and there's some that are strictly just Bridgewater. And where else are they supposed to get money?
Right.
So I don't know if there's a way to.
So it's within our purview to change these guidelines as we see fit.
Okay.
I think the idea, as I spoke with Tina about this, was that her thought process on it was that the funding was never meant to be a revolving door of funding for people on the basis of it would be unfair for people if somebody came back for recurring funding and that was stifling new ideas, right? Like if we end up on a path of we continually fund XYZ forever and in perpetuity, that limits the amount of funds we have for other groups. I think that was her thought on that.
Right.
So I'm happy to revisit this funding guideline here and kind of retweak it.
Yeah, soften it a little, perhaps, because some of the programs that we do support and tend to support usually are because they're actually Bridgewater entities, and again, they don't have people. In other words, you can't get grants from other surrounding communities, even though people come from surrounding communities. So I'll give you a really clear idea of how this works. I've been doing the 4th of July thing, which does not get funding from anywhere. And I've only had in 15 years one local cultural grant. Now, the reason I only have one is because I was on the cultural council and I thought, no way. So all of that has been because I do apply, and I did apply to West Bridgewater, East Bridgewater, Brockton, all these areas. And according to the people that come and attend that festival, they are from all those areas. And we have received 0 funding from them. So what I've had to do is, because I can't compete with the 4th of July committee for fundraising, I self-fund that event almost every year. So, and that's how that runs. And that, I don't mind doing it. This is going to be my last year, 2026 will be the last one I do. And I'm going to bounce it back to the 4th of July committee to do. But, and I don't know, I can't do any more of this stuff. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, and so trying to get funding was very difficult. Turned down from every other local cultural council. And businesses, of course, just said, well, you get funding from the 4th of July committee. And it's like, but we don't. So I'm just saying that there are entities that run things. And, a good example is like the garden club. I mean, where would a garden club You know, how are they going to get funding for their events and things that
Right.
they do? So I'm just thinking there might be a way to, you know, not, yeah, we're going to support you 100% every year, but, you know, looking at where the funding is, Bridgewater, technically, Bridgewater's allocation. And maybe we need to clear that up, clarify that a little more with Cheyenne or something to get a better handle on that, because there are so many entities that want to do that and they don't get that funding, because, and some of them don't apply because they say, well, if I run it for 1 year and then I need to come back again, how am I going to do that? You know, how am I going to keep a program running? And maybe that's where, if we can get someone to come in and do a where you can apply for grants kind of a thing.
Right.
So, and I'll be
Yeah,
quiet
I'm
now.
following.
Okay.
I agree with that. We can probably so because this is our first, back in a while, I don't want to keep everyone all night trying to work on these, but
No.
if we're, if we're largely in agreement on this, I'm happy to, kind of use this as our first session, and then why don't we do this? Let's just, go through these. I'll read them out loud. That way we have, time spent sort of listening to it. I'm not sure, everybody has the time to do that, but like we can sit down right now, read these all out loud, sort of come up with notes on them for the next meeting, and then we will just do a full, okay, here's my notes on this sentence. What do we think? Go through and do sort of a vote on it, and then just send that back to them. Does that sound amenable to everybody?
Sounds good to me.
Yes, fine.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, I'm just gonna go through and read these. You can provide comments if you want. If not, we can just make sure that it's on the register that we talked about them. Joyce, feel free to not write down every single one of these, because
I'm not going to write down every one of them.
It's already here. You don't have to. Okay. So, for our council priorities, we have 5 of them. It is artists and STEM individuals or groups that reside in Bridgewater for the projects to be held in Bridgewater. I think 2 might be a little redundant, but events to be held in Bridgewater. Number 3 is events in surrounding towns where Bridgewater residents would likely attend or participate with no additional cost or fee to attend. Number 4 is other events held in local surrounding communities where residents are likely to attend, which might have nominal fees, cost, expenses to attend. And our 5th priority is the other events that demonstrate they are of interest to Bridgewater residents. So this is our hierarchy of like what we will fund first through 5th. So our council guidelines: the grant must show local community benefit. Please include letter of support from sponsor venue, resume of artist, performance date, and venue. School district programs should apply for the same grant assistance from Rainham. Priority will be given to new applicants and/or projects. It is the intention of the BCC to touch as large a percentage of the population as possible with each event/project. This is a direct grant program. Final reports, expenses, number of attendees, and documentation of credit or grant monies from MCC are required to be considered for future funding. Applicants are encouraged to seek other funding sources. Council funds are not intended to be the sole source of funding for projects on a continuing nature. Funding may be reduced or eliminated after 3 consecutive years of BCC funding. The grantee must acknowledge the support of the Cultural Council with written or verbal statement by using MCC logo available on the MCC website. The credit statement is: this program is supported by grant from the Bridgewater Cultural Council, a local agency which is supported by the Massachusetts Cultural Council, a state agency. So I know we've had Nora's comments. Joyce, do you have any comments on this, or Haley?
I
I think
have-
that those already kind of say what Nora would like. I just think that it's kind of redundant to get any more in the weeds with changing it, but that's kind of my opinion there. I think it is lenient enough to say that it's not meant to be the continuous source, and I think that it says that we don't want you to be doing it over and over again, but not that we wouldn't. So I just think if there was something that would, and I guess also just using the 4th of July of it all, like knowing that the emphasis is on artisans and things of that nature, it makes sense to me why at least like from that sense this hasn't been funded through these sources before. So I think that what we have here, like, I don't have any qualms with it. So I'm gonna leave that to the rest of you guys. I'll agree with what we go with, but I think what we have is great.
Okay.
Okay, my only suggestion was when it said school district program should apply for the same grant assistance from Rainham.
Mm-hmm.
Bristol Plymouth is also, Bridgewater is also part of the Bristol Plymouth School District. Should it say,
True.
instead of just limiting it to Rainham, should it say all schools that are part of the district? I know I'm nitpicking, but
It's a good point. Again, I'm kind of trying to read the tea leaves of what has happened prior. If I were to guess why it is worded the way it is because Bridgewater Raynham schools are tied together. I've seen Bridgewater Raynham, put forward, even on our recent oh, I'm forgetting what the name of the vote was. Our recent override vote was for the Bridgewater Raynham schools, and I think that would be why this
well,
is
I can understand why it was put in there now. I mean, but still, if we want to
right.
consider something from Bristol Plymouth, shouldn't
Yeah,
we also be saying you should be looking for grants from the other schools in that district?
right. I'm not disagreeing with you. I will think on it myself and consider it, for the next time we meet. I don't think I'm comfortable adding that statement just immediately, but I could be convinced either way. I just would like to do a little bit of research on that. Okay, and I don't think the member list is up to date. I think we need to go back and change that. I believe Matt Putnam is still on our roster, so we'll have to change that. Let's see here. Can we go to member list? To update the current and former members, use the contact section of the. Okay. So, let's see here. Joyce, Alien, where is Matt? Interesting. I do not see Matt as a member. And actually, Haley, I don't think yours is listed as treasurer. Interesting. Mailing address. This might be okay. I don't know if everybody has access to go in and change their profile on here. I would imagine that we do. I I don't know how we go about getting our names changed on these, or member titles changed. If it's just I can do it myself. Let's see here. I'll go through and mess with mine. Physical, no, that's there. Terms and conditions, I agree. Member record, active. Member title, here we go.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. Oh boy, when did I did this last year when we first came together, and I'm not remembering when that was, but I will save this. Let's go back and see if that's changed. Okay. Okay, that did change it. So, Haley, if you don't mind, I can change your title right now, if that's
That works for me.
okay.
Thank
You're welcome. And I think it's got a bunch of questions that it's asking you, so you might need to go in there and enter that, because I do not know your home
Yeah,
address.
no, that's okay. I'll update that. I'll take care of that. Thank you.
There, save. Oops. Oh, it's not going to let me save until you put in your address, so I'll save draft. How's that sound?
That's fine. Yeah, I can go in and do it. I have all my stuff saved on my laptop.
Perfect. Okay. All right.
Cool.
So cycles, go back to here. This. So it looks like we're going to have the same funding amount as we did last year, which is not surprising and also good, I guess, because it's not changing on us, which is nice. Don't know why it's not letting me change anything in here. So what I'm gonna do is, like I said, now that we've had everything read out, if you're feeling comfortable about the guidelines, just go ahead and shoot me an email. If you're not feeling comfortable about the guidelines, shoot me an email and say which ones we want to change. Nora, I've already written down what you want.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, otherwise I think what we'll do is we'll schedule a meeting for next week to just go ahead and approve those, because I don't have the ability, it looks like, to change these guidelines here, so I'm going to type up an email to Miss Cone Postal and send that to her and let her know that we did talk about it and that we would like to we'd like to have those small changes and amendments made. And then
Can I
we
ask if we meet next week? Could it be on Tuesday again, if that works for everyone?
Yeah, that would be my goal. I think Tuesdays was kind of the agreed upon best day
I just
for
wanted
everybody.
to be sure.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
worries.
yeah.
Just wanted to be sure.
No, for sure. And I did receive an email from Josh. Let's see here. No, I received an email from Ashley Pyers tracking the final awards. So this is the final awards that Ashley sent. It looks like this is what has been paid out so far. I don't know if we are supposed to contact these people and ask them to put their paperwork in.
I think Josh said he was going to contact them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that part of it. But okay, perfect. And it looks like current contact is Nora, so I will also have Ashley change that over to me.
Yes, please.
Okay. Um, perfect. All right. I think that's all the business that I had wanted to talk about. Is there anything you guys want to talk about or bring up? Comments, questions, concerns?
Not on this thing.
I mean, once we get the guidelines set, I don't know if any of you read the email from Cheyenne about
Yeah.
going, passing out once the grants are closed, I guess is what I want to say. We should each individually go in and see which ones we make a list of what we approve.
Right.
And then, so that we're not just being thrown into it like we were this past year.
Yeah, so I have taken notes about the the process about how things happened last year, and I will make an endeavor to do things better this time around.
I'm not blaming you, Theo.
No,
It
no.
was just everything was so last minute. We
Oh
had
yeah, totally.
That was
do
not
it.
one singular person in this room's fault.
Yeah,
So
no.
No.
I agree with that. I'm just saying I've taken notes on the things that I could do better myself, and I will try to be a little more on the ball about that. Because there were a couple things that were it didn't occur to me that we needed to have all that paperwork sent out or the emails, but I actually do have everything sort of set up in a file now where I can pre-populate a list of letters to send out to people saying, "Hey, you've been approved," and get those all out the door to Josh in a more timely fashion. So
Mhm.
it was a little bit of a learning curve for me. I'm sure it was a
I
learning
think
curve
for all of us.
for everyone. So um, we'll just do it a little bit better this year, and that's the thing. Nothing's ever perfect. It's just always a continuous process.
I think
True.
that's all you can ever hope for. So
That's
Mhm.
right.
did it.
It does look like we already have one draft application.
Yeah.
So we'll next time maybe we'll have more and we can start going over those. I also do want to. I'll check the timelines on everything so that we know exactly when we have to finish things out. I think it's by January, but I don't hold me to that. It's just my remembering things.
Well, I
But-
believe the grants, they close October 16th.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yep.
So should we get something out to, I don't know, Facebook or whatever, to let people locally, just remind them that
Yeah.
date, that the grant application cycle is open, and just a link to where they can go and fill out the application?
Yes, and then probably would do well to also maybe have a paper reminder around some strategically placed locations around town.
Yeah.
Probably like
Roach Brothers has the like the
community
place where you can
billboard.
put up different things going on in the community.
Yeah.
And I think Restoration Coffee does, and I think Boundless Bean as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And probably the public library is a good place to do that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Don't forget your tattoo shops and all that, because that's where artists like hang out. The music plays,
That's yeah,
and
for sure.
all this stuff.
Is that tattoo shop downstairs downtown still around?
Yeah, I think it is.
They're
isn't it?
moving.
Yeah.
They have a sign out front saying that they're moving somewhere else.
Uh-oh.
Gotcha.
Hopes in Bridgewater. I haven't had my tat done yet, so
You gonna share the design with everybody?
Yeah, I'll make sure everyone gets a photo when I get it done.
Sounds good. All right. Well, with that, I think since there's no other questions, comments, concerns, I say we could adjourn the meeting, and then, like I said, I'll get us a meeting next week so that we can finalize the guidelines. I'll make sure that I've sent an email to Cheyenne, letting her know that this is our draft and have it open for us to edit.
Okay,
And then we can get to approving new fun things around here.
okay, excellent. And the next meeting is
I'm going to try to set it for next Tuesday. Let me pull up that will be the 16th
Yep.
of September.
great.
Same channel, same time, 6 o'clock.
Sounds good to me.
All right, see you then.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Joyce. Kate, bye-bye.